All right, so now on to introducing these actual shortcuts that I mentioned at the beginning. So we have a few different shortcuts. So these are going to be similar to your triangle congruent shortcuts like side, 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 angle, 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 side, angle, side, all of those HL that we talked about in a previous chapter. Um, but remember, these are similar triangles as opposed to fully congruent triangles. So they're not going to be 100% identical, but there will be key factors that are identical and some key factors that are just similar in nature with a ratio. So the first shortcut that we have is angle, angle. So if two angles of one triangle are congruent to the two angles of another triangle, then the triangles are similar. So that's saying if angle A is congruent to angle X, I'm going to do that with red so it corresponds. Angle A is congruent to angle X, and angle C is congruent to angle Z, then triangle ABC is similar to triangle XYZ. So now why is this true? Remember, when we have similar triangles, the sides aren't congruent necessarily, but all the angles have to be congruent. So if we put into an example, again, this is just an example. This is not going to happen every time as far as the measurement goes. So if A, for example, is 30 degrees, then X has to be 30 degrees. That would mean C could potentially be 70 degrees. So Z would have to be 70 degrees. Those add up to equal 100, so that would make B have to be 80. Therefore, Y has to be 80. And with similar triangles, all of the angles are congruent. Therefore, these would be similar. So if two of the angles are congruent, that third angle has to be congruent just because of the math of it, since the sum of the triangle has to equal 180 degrees. So the two triangles will be similar. So as long as two angles are congruent, then the triangles are similar. All right, so let's look at kind of an example for that. So I am looking at triangle ABC and triangle DEF. I see C has 78 degrees and F has 78 degrees. So I know that triangle or angle C is congruent to angle F. And I see that angle A is congruent to angle D. They're both 57 degrees. So angle A is congruent to angle D. So because of the angle-angle shortcut, triangle ABC is going to be congruent to DEF by the S, or not by the S, the AA shortcut. So by the angle-angle shortcut. Okay? So let's see if we can look at a few more examples of that. So I have two separate triangles here. I technically have three, but we're talking about, or no, two. Whew, my eyes are deceiving me. I have triangle RST, and then I also have triangle RUV. So you have two different triangles here. So I have SRT, we're going to say is congruent to URV. Remember, they need to follow the same type of movement. The angles need to match up to each other since we have angle U congruent to angle S. And since they both share angle R, that's going to be congruent to itself. So angle S is congruent to angle U. Since they both share angle R, that is your other congruent angle. So we can say triangle SRT is congruent to triangle URV by angle. Okay? So remember, if two triangles share an angle, that angle is going to be congruent to itself. So even though it's a part of two separate triangles, it's still congruent to itself. So triangle SRT is congruent to URV. R is in the middle of both of those, which is the angle we're talking about here. All right, let's look at one more. So what is the measure of angle F? Angle F. Let's let's see, we've got angle F right here. So we have a right triangle with angle, or triangle FGH. So to find angle F, I'm going to say 90 minus 61. Since I have 90 degrees at G, the rest of my triangle has to add up to equal 90, because together they all have to add up to equal 180. So 90 minus 61 is going to give me 29. So F is 29 degrees. And since F is 29 degrees, that's going to make it congruent to J. So we're going to say, yes, these are similar. So triangle FGH, FGH is similar to triangle JLK. 90 is congruent to 90, 29 is congruent to 29, and so obviously H is going to be congruent to angle K.